主義純粋無垢マジで母親になりそうになる私がママにな
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
But hot diggity dog, am I glad it happened. So after watching the first 2 episodes, I think I can say with full clarity that VTuber was much yurier and much more explicit than I was expecting. There are no sex scenes, unfortunately, but the dialogue is ripped right from a drunken frat house, and the characters are more bent than a paperclip. Alright, so I ain't gonna bore you with what the show's about, since the title of the anime already spoils it. So instead, I'm just gonna go over bits and pieces, and talk about my thoughts overall. So obviously, after our protagonist Awayuki, who I'm just gonna refer to as Yuki from now on, reaches drunk status and unknowingly continues her stream, we get a lot of provocative scenes after that. The first one is when Yuki tuned in to watch Hikari, one of her fellow VTubing genmates, who was streaming herself playing what I assume to be a real game. I mean, you don't make a sausage fighting simulator just on a whim for an anime. Also, props to the show for making me say sausage fighting simulator in a sentence. So during this crazy scene, we get to see a bunch of middle school boy internet handles that were apparently too highbrow for Hikari to comprehend. But most importantly, we learn that Yuki is indeed into girls. And I don't think I can exaggerate this sentence any further. She really likes VTubing girls.
ほら行けあと少し行け行け行けよっしゃ行ったあどちゃっこなんだがひかりちゃんのママあなたの配信見てどちゃっこ
By the way, this is the first time I've ever heard an anime use the word gooning. Not even hentai use that word. So after gooning to Hikari's stream, Yuki switches over to another lovely VTuber named Chami, who seems to specialize in ASMRs. And luckily, I was watching this with headphones on at the time. So thank you very much for the experience, Chami One-san. I never realized that my ears were such a weak spot. So after cleaning myself up, I pick back up with Yuki, who awakens from her drunken stupor and finally realizes her grave mistake. And thus, we got the subtitle of the anime. Also, this might be jumping ahead a bit, but this anime seems to have a lot of pop culture references. Apparently, most of them being references to real-world VTubers, which of course I can't really speak to, since I know as little about VTubers as I do about the breeding cycle of the Northern River terrapin. Which is to say, not a lot. I'm sure some savvy commenter will give me the rundown, but I will clarify that I at least know there's plenty of actual Yuri in the VTubing community. Maybe if someone links me to a specific clip, I can finally start shipping some of the characters. Anyway, back to the anime. So Yuki is given the green light by her manager to act as unhinged as possible in her streams, which apart from gaining more views, also gets the attention of her VTubing senpais, the sinfully seductive succubus Sei, and the warm and motherly fox spirit Shion. And no surprise, Yuki instantly declared that she wanted to them, but only after getting married first. Kinda shocking that Yuki's an advocate of postmarital sex considering everything she's set up to this point. But hey, I can respect that. Also, I still can't get over how nonchalant and blatant the dialogue is. I mean, Yuki goes on to say to her audience that she's a huge fan of both Sei and Shion, and that obviously she would ask them to have sex. I mean, duh! What are you, stupid? And even earlier she mentioned that one of her kinks is innocent girls saying dirty things, and that'd be quite a disservice not to beat your meat or beaver to it. And just when you thought they were done with the Yuri bingo game, they pull out this subtle nugget of a question. If the ball has been hidden up to this point, then it's like hiding the Las Vegas sphere behind a porta potty. But what's interesting is Yuki's response to this.
片方の女優さんが明らかにユリプレイを嫌がってるのとか好きです
Now I have no idea what this means. I don't know if it's a translation error or if Yuki's really into some sick role-playing. Someone who's a little more well-informed or can speak fluent Japanese help me clarify this. Anyway, let's move on to episode 2, which I can only describe as a 20-minute beer commercial. At least 70% of this episode was dedicated to talking about beer. And I had to look this up because I was curious. But I learned that Strong Zero is actually a real beer brand, and really popular in Japan too. And my first thought is that they had to receive permission to use the beer in their show, right? I mean, there's no freaking way. Secondly, I want to know how big a paycheck Strong Zero received for all this. And thirdly, if there was a stipulation to say Strong Zero a certain amount of times each episode. Anyway, underneath this product placement, we do at least get some wild and crazy Yuri moments. We start the episode off with Yuki doing a collab with another VTuber named Mashiro, who unsurprisingly Yuki has the hots for. But an interesting bit of lore is that Mashiro designed Yuki's VTuber character. And at this point, I need to address the big fat elephant in the room. We know that the characters we see on screen are apparently just virtual designs, basically alter egos, but for some reason we never see how they actually look like in real life. I mean, I guess we do see Yuki as an NPC before she starts her job as a VTuber, but it's still weird seeing these wacky characters going about their business in what looks to be the real world. When I first saw Yuki step out of her apartment and we see those NPCs, I honestly thought that her character was inhabiting the virtual world or something. Like maybe that VTubers live in a different dimension, but can sorta interact with the real world. Kinda like Wreck-It Ralph, I think. I don't know, it's been a while since I watched it, so I guess the understanding is that they're just regular humans, but we, the audience, are always seeing them as their VTuber characters. Maybe to keep things simple or something. Although I have to wonder just how they are seeing each other in real life. At the very least, they all seem to be portrayed by women, so there's no shocking revelation that one of them is being controlled by some fat pervert, looking for his avatar to score a hot one-night stand with his waifu. You know, like every otaku's fantasy. Anyway, so later Yuki meets with Sei and Shion for the first time to discuss their collab, where she learns much more about her lovely senpais, including the fact that they're all the same age. Wait, why do you need to count on your fingers how old they are? Ah, f it. So for their collab, they went to do some karaoke while taking some questions from their audience. And immediately, one of the questions was what kind of girl turned them on. And like clockwork, we get another love confession. This time from Sei, who admits that Shion was the type of girl she likes. Did I mention that we're being totally spoiled right now? And if that wasn't enough, Yuki then proceeded to utter some of the most important words ever known to man.
シオン先輩ユリっていうのは誰にも邪魔されず自由でなんというか救われてないといけないんですよ
But then, after getting hit on by Sei, Yuki then asked if he'd be down for a threesome. Seriously, did I mention that we're being totally spoiled right now? Anyway, the episode ends with Yuki playing one of the most infuriating games in mankind's history, and then we're treated to the amazing singing voices of Sakura Ayane and Kobayashi Yu, Yuki and Sei's voice actors respectively. So yeah, an overall fantastic yet unconventional premiere. Like I said, this second episode was definitely weaker thanks to its rather blatant product placement, which I really hope they'll tone down on. I mean, it's not like they're coming out with some of the greatest jokes when talking about Strong Zero or anything. And I want to be fair here. While the Yuri is fun and over the top, it's important to show some restraint and focus more on how it's executed. There's only so many times I can hear the characters say let's have Yuri sex before it starts to become a little stale. Holy shit, did those words really leave my mouth? Anyway, that's all I have to say about the anime for now. See you around.